This Feldenkrais inspired sequence, in my mind, is as good as a massage, great for easing kinks in the back, neck and shoulders, and for settling and grounding the whole system. You'll need plenty of space around your mat and perhaps a block or a pillow to hand if you feel you need head support lying down. So let's come onto our backs. And we'll lie with the knees bent and the feet perhaps just a little wider than hip width apart, so maybe more like shoulder width apart. Let's just take the arms comfortably out to the side at shoulder height. Close the eyes. Turn the attention inwards. Sense and feel into how you are right now. Noticing body's relationship to the floor, for example. And body's relationship to heart and mind. You're also noticing your breath. Gentle, comfortable rhythm of breath. And let's turn the right palm to face downwards, and the left palm to face upwards. Now very slowly and easily, tip both knees down towards the floor on the right side, rolling your head to the left, and extending the left arm from the shoulder down to the fingertips. So you don't lock your elbow stays on the floor. And then slowly and gently, easily, let's bring the knees back to upright. Relax the shoulder. Head returns to center. So we'll take that a second time to the right side. So knees go down towards the floor and head rolls to the left, and you're extending left arm. So you're just looking for the pleasure in the movement, not forcing anything. And then you slowly, gently return the knees to upright, the head to center. And let's take that once more. And then return. So let's turn the right palm up down now and the left palm down. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So your feet stay apart and you slowly tip the knees down towards the floor on the left side, and you turn your head easily to the right side, and you extend the length of your right arm without locking the elbow. So the extension comes out of the shoulder. And then you carefully, mindfully return to your starting points. Your knees point up and your head comes back to center and the whole body relaxes. And you take it again. The knees go off to the left, the head rolls easily to the right. Extend down the length of right arm. You might be pressing right shoulder a little into the floor, squeezing right shoulder blade a little towards the spine, and then you return. And let's take that once more. And come back to center. And then let's alternate going side to side. So the right palm turns down, the left palm turns up, the knees go to the right, the head rolls to the left. So you're looking towards your upturned palm, and then slowly, smoothly transition over to the other side. So your right palm starts to turn upwards, your left palm starts to turn downwards, your knees transition over to the left side, your head rolls easily to the right side. So take it slowly a few more times. See how slowly you can track this gentle twisting action. And it might be that your breath wants to come in and support the movement. So depending on how slowly you're moving, you might inhale your knees to upright and exhale into the twist, or it might be that you take inhalation for one whole transition and exhalation for the other. Just notice how the breath comes in and supports you. And then next time, knees are off to the left. We'll return to center with both palms facing upwards and just rest a moment. So let your bones be heavy, sinking down into the earth. And then we'll gather both knees in towards the chest and just rest the hands on the kneecaps or the tops of the shins. Just take a moment here. See if you can relax your face a little bit more. And if you're able to release the face, you might notice that that just naturally relaxes your neck and your shoulders. You might be conscious of the length of your spine here, the back of your pelvis, the sensation in your hip joints. Without trying, you're probably noticing that your knees are pulsing a little with the breath. So as you inhale, the knees can't help but shift away a little bit as the abdomen expands. And as you exhale, the knees just naturally draw back in a little bit. So you're not making that happen, you're just noticing it if it is happening. And then find a way to easefully roll onto your right side. So this is where you might need your prop, if you haven't been using it already, to lie on the back. So you'll lie on your right side and you might bring your pillow in to support your head. And let's have the knees bent, but both knees on the floor. So the left knee perhaps is to the floor slightly behind the right knee. So you can bring the right knee up a bit, left knee's down on the floor. And you've got your right arm extending out underneath you. And just rest your left hand on top of your right hand. And settle here for a moment. You might notice the touch of your palms together, pads of your fingers, your thumbs in contact. And then slowly and gently start to explore, sliding your left hand forward. So obviously your left shoulder is going to reach forward a little bit there. And then sliding your left hand back. So it just traces the length of your right arm, and you're letting your left knee do what he wants to do. Probably wants to lift and lower with the movement. So you're not forcing anything to be static. You want to be very comfortable, which is why it's important to have some head support. So we're gently rocking back and forth. I'm going to do this a good few times. So in the spirit of a massage, not in the spirit of forcing anything on the body, or even particularly of intending to release tension. It's just be very easy. If tension is going to be released, just let that happen on its own. But you might start to experiment with drawing your left shoulder quite far back as that arm comes in towards you, so that it almost touches to the floor. You know, don't force it, obviously, but you're exploring the possibility of that. And as the arm reaches away from you, just gently rolling your head into your support or into the floor. So the neck is rolling as well. And you're noticing what's happening for your underneath shoulder, through your upper back, across your chest. Okay, and then just pause for a moment and relax. And then angle your left arm downwards. So we're going to explore this space here between the arm and the knee now with the left hand, with the left knee. So exactly the same kind of movement. You're sliding your palm away from you and then towards you. Just letting that left knee do what it needs to do to support an easeful flow of the movement. But you're just changing the angle of the arm each time. So you might do one or two that are quite close to your right arm, for example, where the hand's just sliding on the floor beside the right arm, or you might start to explore midway between the arm and the knee, or you might start to explore close towards your knee, so much further away from your arm. So you're changing the angle of the arm each time. You're conscious of the sensory feedback that's coming in through your palm, whatever kind of flooring you're rubbing against. So I have quite a textured carpet that It's giving lots of sensory information into my palm. So you don't be rocking backwards and forwards, noticing underneath shoulder as well as top shoulder, noticing the lengthening and then releasing of the muscles of the back, and just experimenting not only with the angle of the arm, but the nature of the reach. So one or two, you might really see how far you can go, find your boundaries, comfortable boundaries, and others you might just take a micro movement back and forth. And then next time you're reaching quite far away, if you can, slide the hand on the floor past your right hand. If not, just place the left hand above the right arm. And then you do exactly the same thing, but with the hand now between the right arm and, let's say, some kind of arc that might be coming out from the top of the head there. So you're exploring that quadrant. And you might notice some real sweet spots there. Some places that the body really enjoys opening to. Also noticing what's happening to your underneath hip. So your right hip getting a massage here as well. And check that your breath is easy, that your face is relaxed. You're not trying to achieve anything, you're just simply enjoying what is. And then let's explore bringing the hand, if possible, in line with the top of the head. So that is actually quite a tricky action for some people. So it might be that with your fingertips on the floor that you just trace it a few times. So it's like you roll forward a little bit and then you roll directly onto your side. And if you are able to comfortably keep the arm up there, which you may not, I mean, your hand might be way up here, in which case just bring it in contact with the floor and you're going to take your reaches from there. But if you do have the hand above the head, just see if you can reach a little further away and then release. So you've got something of that forward, backward action happening, but not as much as before. So just inviting an opening around that left shoulder. And then from here, keep your fingertips on the floor and start to trace an arc around you from your knee back up above the head. So you're taking that little swing open of the shoulder if you can. So maybe missing your right hand if you're able to, but of course, if you don't have that reach, you can just slide one hand over the other. So just allow it to be as comfortable as possible. And if you're able to get that sweep of the arm above the head, so you do want to keep the fingers on the floor. So it might be that you can start to open out so that the back of your shoulder, left shoulder, actually touches the floor. But do make sure that you're comfortable, don't force anything. And if that's going easily, then you might start to take it into a circle. So the left arm comes down towards your hip, it just slides over the hip, returns to the floor on the right side, and then continues with the circle. So the important thing with this is that you keep the hand in contact with the floor or with your body as much as you can. So you're getting the sensory input from the hand. So if it's straining your neck and your shoulders, then absolutely don't do it. You just stay with the circular, this kind of semicircle, the circular swing that we were doing. So you find some way. And if you're going in a circle, then maybe you change the direction of your rotation. But do make sure that all parts of the body are happy with that. And if you do find a kind of tricky spot, so for me, that taking the arm out and back there is feeling a little bit tricky, you might do a micro movement back and forth over it, or just explore that movement in particular a few times before you go into the rest of it. And you might take a nice long breath out every now and again, just to make sure you're not holding the breath. Okay. And then let's pause with the left hand just resting comfortably on the right hand again. Relaxing, you're releasing, it's becoming still. And then return onto your back. You might take your head support away to return onto your back, or you might like to keep it there. So return to your back with your knees bent and your arms out to the side, so where we started. And just notice what's going on. So obviously we've only done that sequence on one side. So notice how your body is showing you that. And also how your body's relationship to the floor might have changed already. And then let's gather the knees in towards the chest, hands on the knees. So just a moment or two here. Just relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your face. You're going to roll yourself easily off to the left side and set yourself up in position on the left. So your left arm is extending out in front of you. Got your head on some sort of support if you need it. Your left knee is forward on the floor, your right knee is back, but both knees are on the floor. And you've got one palm touching the other, so arms are out long. So just give yourself a moment to get into a comfortable position and to settle here. So it might immediately feel a lot different one side of the body to the other. And then we're sliding that top hand, that right hand away, and then towards. So allowing the right shoulder to reach forwards and then roll backwards. And you can experiment not only with how far you go or how far you don't go. You could be making a really tiny movement back and forth. You can also be exploring the potential of rolling the back of the shoulder, the right shoulder, to the floor maybe. And just letting the head roll very easily. And you're conscious of the sensory information coming in through your hands. Or areas of bare skin in general, really. So obviously your face also will be connecting with some sort of stimulus and then moving away from it. So you're tuning into the felt sense. Noticing your underneath shoulder. And letting that right knee do what it needs to do to enable you to move as fluidly and freely as possible. So it's probably lifting and lowering a little from the floor. And then when you've had enough of that, you just pause for a moment in your starting position. And you relax your muscles. The relaxing of the muscles is important. It's an important part of the practice, the letting go, the resetting to neutral. And then slide your hand down, your top hand, your right hand down the direction of the knee maybe. And you're going to start exploring that space between your left arm and your left knee. Rubbing the palm along the floor away from you. And then back in towards you. And you're changing the angle of the reach each time. You can make little micro movements, so change direction quite quickly and to see how that is. And if you find a sweet spot, you might want to go even more slowly through it, or you might want to pause there for a moment and really enjoy it. Make sure your neck is comfortable, your face is relaxed, and that you're not striving to achieve anything. So you're not striving to reach a long way forward, for example. You're just simply easing those kinks out of your back, neck, and shoulder muscles, this mindful movement. And then if you're able to perhaps reach past your left arm, you just slide the hand on the floor now into the space between the arm and the head. And you're doing the same thing here. So you're finding different places to reach to. So personally, I find it satisfying to reach with the arm fairly close towards the head. That seems to really access some restriction in center of my spine, center of my back. So you're looking for your own particular sweet spots. And then seeing whether you can keep the hand on the floor and somehow bring it in line with the top of your head. And you might want to try that movement a few times because it is a tricky one. Yeah, so as relaxed as you can be in the neck, and maybe you just explore that a few times and then go back to what we were doing previously. Or perhaps you might start to circle the arm round so that it stays on the floor behind you, tracing an arc, and then you run the hand over your hip and to the floor in front of you again, and you just continue. And you might go really slowly through certain places, or you might find a particularly tight spot and take a micro movement through it back and forth. You might coordinate your breath with the movement if it's easy. So just remembering it's all done in the spirit of massage and of being very respectful towards our body and intelligent about what's appropriate for our particular physiologies. So let's go in the opposite direction. So obviously, if you've got really difficult shoulders, then you need to go very carefully with how far around this movement you explore. So changing direction if you haven't done so already. Okay, and then let's just rest with one palm on top of the other again. Tracking the sensory experience. And then let's return to our backs. So you can move your head support out of the way perhaps. And come onto your back. Knees bent. Feet a little wider than hip width apart. Arms out to the side at shoulder height. Just notice how you're doing. It's tracking the flow of energy in the body. And then just to compare, let's see how we're experiencing that twisting action that we did at the very beginning again. So let's turn the right palm down. We've got the left palm up. Knees are tipping towards the floor on the right side and the head's rolling to the left side. Just go from side to side. So bring the knees back to upright and take it over to the other side. So your right palm is up, your left palm is down. Knees have gone to the left, head rolls to the right. So take it a couple more times, just noticing how this might feel subtly different or markedly different. It might just simply be a fluidity and a cooperation between the different parts of the body that wasn't there at the beginning, perhaps. Or it might be that you're going further, the twist is deeper, the spine feels freer. Breath is just a lot more intuitive. Okay, so next time knees are off to the left, we'll just return to the starting point with both palms face upwards, knees pointing to the ceiling. And then wrap the arms around the chest. Just have your right arm on top. Just wrap the arms around the chest. And take a deep breath into the space in between the shoulder blades. And then change the cross of the arms. Have your left arm on top, hands around the sides. So not over the tops of the shoulders, but around the sides. That's deep breath. As you inhale, you feel shoulder blades move away from the spine. And as you exhale, you feel them release. And then let's bring the arms down by the sides of the body, palms face downwards, arms quite close towards you. And then push firmly into your feet, spreading and lengthening your toes. Let your hips lift up, take your arms up at the same time, so arms go directly up towards the ceiling. And then the arms continue till the backs of the hands touch the floor above, perhaps, or that's where I found my prop there. So you find some comfortable way to bring the arms above the head. And the hips are a little higher than the rib cage. And the knees are reaching forward. And just take a deep breath into the back of your body here. So easy to breathe into the front of the body. Take a deep breath into the back of the body. And then when that deep breath is complete, keep the arms above the head and start to thread the spine down onto the floor. Vertebra by vertebra. And then when the hips touch, sweep the arms down beside you, so at about 45-degree angle with the arms. So we're just resting for a few moments. You might choose to keep your knees bent. You might like to straighten your legs out now. So tracking the breath. Having a felt sense of yourself, of your body, of your relationship with the environment. Just notice how you feel different. How that movement sequence has affected you.